words of our Divine Mother from the book The Mother, with comments, the Mother's comments of 1954. Comments on chapter 1, page 131. Question: Sweet Mother, in the letters Sri Aurobindo says in Letters on Yoga, volume 23, page 609, that the grace does not choose the just and reject the sinner. It has its own discernment which is different from the mind's. That is how, for example, the grace came to St. Augustine's help. Then why does Sri Aurobindo say here, but the supreme grace will act only in the conditions of light and truth? For this, our Divine Mother says, yes, I noticed that. When I read it, I thought about this. I thought about it. I think he wrote the sentence in this way so that it would be more easily understandable. But in fact, what he meant, what he has said here, you are yourself rejecting the grace, isn't it that? He says, where is it? What page? Page 4? Yes. Pushing the divine grace from you. Yes, you are yourself pushing the divine grace away from you. No, it is not that. It is the child begins to read the grace. No, after that, my child, it will not act to another child. This is what we have explained. That is something else. You see, this is what I've explained. You ask the grace to do something for you, but this thing is a falsehood. It won't do it because it always acts only in truth. The question, but then how can it come to the help of the sinner? For this, Mother says, it doesn't help the sinner to be a sinner. It helps the sinner to give up his sin. That is to say, it does not push away the sinner saying, I don't do anything for you. It is always there, even when he is a sinner, when he is sinning, to help him come out of it, but not to continue to do his sin. There is a great difference between this and the idea that you are bad and so I won't look after you. I shall throw you away from me and whatever is to happen to you will happen. I'm not concerned about it. This is the common idea everyone has. One says God has rejected me, It is not that. You may not be able to feel the grace, but it is always there, even the worst of the sinners, even the worst of the criminals, to help them to change, to be cured of this crime and sin if he wants it. It won't reject him, but it won't help him to do evil. It won't be the grace any longer. You understand the difference? But there is a sentence here, that's here where we are. It is absolutely true. You and yourself are pushing the divine grace away from you, and then there is the lamp has to be switched on, says some other, and this made a noise in the mic. Mother shows a little surprise, then continues turning on the pages of the book to find the sentence. I thought it was here. She finds the sentence and then reads. Then here we are. Always you will be open to attack and the grace will recede from you. You see? This, and then there's a silence. It is not the grace which recedes from you, it is you who recede from the grace. It is a feeling and the expression of the fact. For in the sentence, a preceding sentence, we have you and yourself pushing the divine grace away from you. This is just the thing. You and yourself pushing the divine grace away from you, but after having pushed it away, you have the impression that it has receded from you. It is rather this. Then always you will be open to attack and the grace will recede. It is not a fact that it recedes from you. You have the impression that it recedes from you. It expresses one impression, but it is not that the grace withdraws, for it is written here, you see, just a little before, it is not the divine grace you must blame, it is you who push it away from you. In one case, he takes the position of the grace, and in another, he takes the attitude of the person who says, "The grace recedes from me," but it is not the grace that recedes, it is he himself who pushes it away. That is, he puts a distance between himself and the grace. In fact, even pushing away doesn't give the correct picture. You see, this is not written, it was not written to a philosopher, it is not in a philosophical terms. In one case, you see, he has taken this particular attitude, but the phenomenon is the same. That is, there is a kind of a psychological distance created between the grace and the individual, and due to this psychological distance, the individual cannot receive the grace, and he feels that it is not there, but it is there. In fact, only as he has established this distance between the two, he does not feel it. It is not any longer there. He feels it that it's not there. This is the real phenomenon. It isn't that the grace goes away. It isn't even that he has the power to push it away, for it doesn't want to go. No matter how much he tries, it won't go. But he makes himself incapable of feeling it and receiving its effect. He creates a psychological barrier between himself and the grace. Date 7th July 1954. The next talk is recorded, could not be recorded very clearly because of the noise of the fireworks celebration on the French Republic Day. That's comments on chapter 2. Question: Sweet Mother, does Sri Aurobindo make a difference between the divine and the Shakti? Here he speaks of surrender of oneself and all one is and one has on every plane of the consciousness and every moment to the divine and the Shakti. For this mother says, he has said that the divine is the supreme, that's the origin. He has said, hasn't he? At the very beginning of this chapter, I think he has said the divine. The child reads the text. Through his Shakti is behind all actions. He takes the Shakti, mother says, he takes the Shakti as the executive power, the creative consciousness. Now, what is the meaning of surrender and every plane of consciousness? The actual complete sentence was, in all that is done on the universe, the divine through his Shakti is behind all action, but he is wheeled by his Yoga Maya and works through the ego of the Jiva and the lower nature. For this, the mother says, it means surrender of the physical, surrender of the vital, surrender of the mind, surrender of the psychic. And if you are conscious of other parts of your being, you must first begin by distinguishing between the different parts of your being, and then when you distinguish them clearly, you offer them one by one. What does Yoga Maya mean? Yoga Maya? I don't know. I don't know in what sense he says that, whether it is the most external manifestation. Does he speak of Yoga Maya? The child reads the phrase, yes, he is wheeled by his Yoga Maya. So mother says, yes, wheeled by external manifestation. Truly, that is what it means, the outer form of the world and also the egoism of the Jiva, that is the individual being. He works through the ego of the Jiva, says the child. Mother says, yes, it is the same thing. Yes, true. That means the ego is there. Sweet Mother, here it is written, but so long as the lower nature is active, the personal effort of the sadhaka and the sadhana remains necessary. I didn't understand here. So long as the lower nature is active, how? Mother says, generally, the lower nature is always active. It is only when one has surrendered completely that it stops being active. When one is no longer in the lower consciousness, when one has made a total surrender, then a lower nature is no longer active. But as long as it is active, personal effort is necessary. In fact, so long as one is conscious on one's own self as a separate person, personal effort has to be made. It is only when the sense of separation is lost, when one is not only completely surrendered but completely fused in the divine, that there is no longer any need of personal effort. But as long as, or so long as one feels that one is a separate being, one must make a personal effort. This is what he calls the activity of the lower consciousness.